Hello there, and welcome back to yet another exciting Otaku Bandito video. Today, I'm going to do a tribute video to one of my favorite Mac collectors on YouTube, Matthew Pearce. His channel was one of my favorites to watch. And Matthew Pearce always made some great videos. I always liked watching Matthew Pearce's videos about vintage Macs. He was one of my favorite Mac collectors on YouTube. Heck, I even took some lines from him in, my older iMac review, which is due for a remake in the Museum of Apple Computers. Yeah, I liked watching his videos. But sadly, he's no longer around. While there are still a few Mac collectors on YouTube that are lying around, like Ken Doe from Crazy Ken, Colin from This Does Not Compute, Stephen Hackett from 512 Pixels, let's say that again, Stephen Hackett from 512 Pixels, Greg Hrutke from Hrutke Mods, and let's not forget 65 Scribe. Matthew Pearce sadly went away and no longer makes videos to this very day. I wanted to make this video a tribute to what he did back in the day and how things could have been if he still made videos about Macs. And it's a great time to do it because I got this recent addition to my Mac collection. It's a 2006 17-inch iMac that was made exclusively for schools. Yeah, it was made exclusively for the education market, and this computer is so special that I'm not just going to be doing one video, but two of them. Yes, I'm going to be doing another video on it for the Museum of Apple Computers because it is such an interesting Mac to talk about. And I want to talk about the history of it and everything and how it came to be. So yeah, I hope you all enjoy the video, and I did a great job making this video as close to Matthew Pearce's videos as possible, so hope you all enjoy. Zach the Millennial! This is your dad calling, it's time for school! Oh man, but I don't want to go to school. School sucks. Fine. Oh, there's the bus. Guess I better go. Another boring day in school. It is. Oh wow! They got a new computer. I don't remember seeing that in school. It looks pretty cool. Hey, wait a minute, what's going on? What's that sound? Whoa. Man, this time travel journey has been rough. Wait! Who are you? The name's Zach, dude.
Zach the Millennial.
So, what are you doing in school? Funny you ask that. Well, I'm here to complete a journey that Matt Pearce has yet to complete. Travel back in time and review vintage Macs. I traveled back into the year 2006 to take a look at the one-of-a-kind, unique A1195 iMac. This model is very unique in the Intel iMac line, and I have to take a look at it. If Matthew Pearce was still around, he would have still made a video on this computer talking about its history and whatnot. So, yeah, I'm not here to hurt anyone. I'm just here to review a Mac. Ah, I see. So that's why you came here. As if that couldn't be any more confusing. Well, the new Mac is over there. Or the new computer is over there. Go ahead, knock yourself out. It's standing right over there. And you can do your whatever. I'm just gonna go to my desk and do normal schoolwork. Boring schoolwork. Man, I hate saying that word. I hate that word. Drives me insane. The A1195 Intel iMac was first introduced in July 5th, 2006, and was only sold in the education market, meaning it was only ever sold in schools, thus making it an oddity in the Intel iMac lineup. This is the first time since the launch of the eMac and the Power Macintosh G3 all-in-one that a Mac was only ever sold to the education market. This computer was only ever sold on the market for 2 months, and apparently it was made to fulfill the orders of the eMac, which was restricted to education-only sales by that point. The story goes is that the eMac was cutting into the sales of the new Intel-based Macs, and of course they made this low-end configuration to appeal to the schools and fulfill those eMac orders. While it does have the same 1.83 GHz processor that the other 17-inch Intel iMac uses, it doesn't have the same graphics card. It uses the lower-end Intel GMA 950 graphics card instead of the ATI Radeon X1600 graphics card that the other 17-inch Intel iMac uses, possibly in order to reduce costs, as this was meant for schools after all. The port set is typical for any Intel iMac. It uses the sound out port and microphone port, as well as the 3 USB 2.0 ports, the 2 FireWire 400 ports, the Ethernet port, and the mini DVI port. It also uses the typical Intel iMac proprietary charger. This charger has a ring shape around it to ensure that it will only ever fit with the Intel iMacs and iMac G5s. A pretty clever move if you ask me. And it also uses a security lock just in case. Like any lower-end Intel iMac, the maximum supported OS that this iMac can use is macOS 10.6.8. And it can't run any OS that's higher than that. Oh, and I also forgot to mention that this computer has an 80GB hard drive instead of the 160GB hard drive that the other 17-inch Intel iMac uses. It was probably another thing that was done to minimize costs. It makes sense, seeing as most people are probably not going to use the 80GB hard drive to their fullest advantage. Most people who use school computers only store Word documents in there, and kids only play Flash games, and those aren't stored into the hard drive. It also uses the cheaper DVD combo drive instead of the more standard super drive. It can only run DVD-ROM and CD rewritable discs, and it cannot run most rewritable DVDs. It also has the built-in iSight camera that is standards on a lot of Intel iMacs as well as the late models of iMac G5. And like the iMac G5 and other Intel iMacs, it has sleek looks that are reminiscent of the iPod, as well as modern-day iMacs. It was also one of the last iMacs to use polycarbonate plastics instead of, well, aluminum that, well, a lot of Apple computers nowadays use. Speaking of games, if you're expecting this computer to handle some graphically impressive games, you're going to be disappointed, as this is a lower-end iMac. This computer was not meant for gaming, and it was only meant for schools after all. But still, it runs LEGO Star Wars like a champ. Although, don't expect this computer to run games like Toka Race Driver 3 all that well. It has some frame rate drops, but I was still able to play it with no problem. I was still able to enjoy playing this game as well. I do like LEGO Star Wars, even if it's running at a lower frame rate. If you're a collector of Intel iMacs, then this model is for you. It's a curious piece of Apple history, and Apple has started transitioning from the PowerPC processors that they've used for a long time to the Intel processors. Nowadays, Apple has transitioned to using the M1 processors, which are ARM-based. Despite being a rare Mac, it's not all that valuable compared to the Power Mac G3 All-in-One. It's still a highly collectible iMac, and I'd highly recommend you to get one for anyone that is looking to buy something to add to their collection of Intel iMacs or just Macs in general. It's a must-buy for any Mac collector. Apple has transitioned to Intel processors, but now they've transitioned to using their own processors based on the ARM architecture. And hopefully, someday in the future, or sometime in the future, the iMac might get a chance to use the all-new Apple M1 architecture. You can also use Windows on this computer, as it does have an Intel processor, and hopefully Windows will make a version of Windows 10 for ARM-based computers to use on the M1 Macs.